Oh yes, this is happening. A little champagne first thing in the morning here at the Vancouver Convention Centre as we are getting ready for the Vancouver International Wine Festival, where Jody and Riaz, California is the region, Chardonnay is the grape, and if you think that you don't like Chardonnay, we got some tips for you that tells you it might be a little more misunderstood than you've thought in the past.
Don, how many people will be chubaied before 9 a.m. this morning?
Oh, I think that's probably a fair assumption that everyone will be, including Brian Wilson, our camera op. Send the cab, ever. And Harry, you are officially my favorite guest ever. How did you know I like champagne?
Dawn, I love champagne too, and it's not just breakfast television, it's champagne television today because it's Wine Festival week. And you know, there is a bit of a relationship between champagne and our feature grape. Of course, we're here at for the Vancouver International Wine Festival, where California is the region, but Chardonnay is the grape, and I was surprised to know that Chardonnay is a big component of champagne. That's right. In Champagne, there's Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and that's one of the reasons we are focusing a little bit on the Chardonnay grape, is because there is Chardonnay and sparkling wine from the region of Champagne in France is called Champagne, and this Champagne Lanson is featured at the Wine Festival, and it's a great beverage to start the morning, and I know how much you love champagne. I love champagne, but you know what? Let's to our health. To our health. To everybody's health out there, but a lot of people say I don't like Chardonnay. Well, that's one of the reasons we're focusing on it this year, is because it's misunderstood. Okay. There's sort of this notion of anything but Chardonnay. Why though? Why do people not typically think they like Chardonnay? Well, because it has a really rich, oaky, perhaps slightly heavy feel to it. It's still the most popular white grape in the world, but a lot of people who are in their journey in the wine world, they've branched off to a lot of different grapes. But Chardonnay has really changed in the last couple of years. It's becoming more elegant. There's unoaked Chardonnay. So really, the Wine Festival is a chance to taste diversity. And you've got a couple of examples here of what's being featured here, right? Yeah, this is from the Okanagan Valley, Perpetua, and Chardonnay is grown from around the world. And so, although there's over 700 wines in the tasting room where we are right now. And that's the big thing too, because the tasting room happens tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. And what can people expect from that? If they don't like Chardonnay, there's more than Chardonnay here. Let's face it. Right. I mean, there's going to be about just over 100 Chardonnay, so you can spend the whole evening learning more about Chardonnay than you ever learned in your whole life. But also, there are hundreds and hundreds of other wines. Excellent. From 15 countries, a total of 175 wineries. So it's a great opportunity to not only explore Chardonnay, but also our feature region. Perfect. Well, I'm going to get started on those hundreds and hundreds of wines right now. For more details on the Vancouver International Wine Festival and its new beneficiary, Bard on the Beach, you can, of course, go to their website. Cheers. 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 My favorite guest ever, I'm telling you. But for a good cause, there's nothing wrong with drinking in moderation. No one's saying it's unhealthy. You know, the one thing is, though, as we get ready for the Vancouver International Wine Festival, Terry, there's probably a lot of people that think, I don't know a lot about wine, but we thought we'd bring in the best, the 2012 Sommelier of the Year, to help us sound a little bit more knowledgeable. Thanks for joining us early this morning. Lovely to be here. Okay, so how do I not sound like an idiot? Well, really, I mean, wine is all about enjoyment and pleasure. So it doesn't matter if you're professional or if you're the public. It's all about what's in the glass and just enjoying. Okay, so it starts with what? Really, I mean, it's all about the nose. So I mean, it's not really about the vocabulary that much, but it's really all about smelling. And getting your nose right in there. Absolutely, and that's actually what you call it. You call it nosing. So you're putting your nose in it, and that's where a lot of the pleasure of wine comes from. Okay, but what am I smelling for? The back of the bottle says I should smell for tropical fruit and pineapple. Is that always the case? Well, we have the winemaker over there actually. So it definitely, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, this is a Chardonnay, so you're definitely. Which is, by the way, the feature grape. Which is the feature grape this year, exactly. And you definitely are getting some of those more richer, fuller, slightly more tropical fruits. And it does smell fruity, so I can agree with that. Okay, so once we got the nose going, let's get to the tasting part. The tasting, absolutely. Well, really all about tasting is we'll take a sip. Okay. But am I doing the whole, you know, that you see people doing, professionals, you know? I mean, you do it, and it's, I mean, professionionally, it makes a lot of sense. I'm not quite sure if that really is what you want to do when you're in the tasting room, because if you haven't practiced it before, it can get a little bit messy. Right. And it's only about aeration, and what you're trying to do is get some air into the wine, which releases a little bit of the ethers, and that gives you some flavor and aroma. And I know I'm supposed to spit, but I got to tell you, that's not going to happen. I like drinking the wine too much. Well, there you go. I mean, we would recommend spitting once in a while. It's you know, it's 700 wines in this room. It's a lot. So I would recommend maybe a 50-50 split. Maybe might help. Great tips from Terry. Also recommended that you have a little bit of a meal before you come here. Although there will be a few little treats there at the tasting room. For more details on the Vancouver International Wine Festival, you can go to their website. But
Cheers. I'm going to keep going on this, guys. So Christopher Gaze, how exciting is this? Bard on the Beach, the recipient of the Vancouver International Wine Festival.
Yes, it's marvelous. And it's wonderful to be down here this morning. It's just us in this huge convention center room.
And a whole bottle of champagne.
A whole bottle of champagne. Happy days are here again.
And speaking of which, let's talk about the happy days of Bard on the Beach. What can we expect from this next season?
We begin June 12th with 12th Night. And then follow that with Hamlet. That's all on the BMO main stage. And then in the small theatre, Measure for Measure and Elizabeth Rex. So it's going to be Elizabeth Rex is a Canadian play.
Oh, very good.
And all about Elizabeth I and Shakespeare.
Excellent. Of course, Shakespeare, and of course, the wonderful Christopher Gaze. Thank you very much. Jody and Riaz, coming up in the next 6 minutes, we're actually going to be talking with the wine master at Kendall Jackson. He's in from California, and we're going to chat with him coming up in just a few moments. Cheers, Christopher. Oh, things are fabulous here. How could it not be fabulous? I'm here with wine master Randy Kendall Jackson. First of all, thank you so much for getting up early with us.
Honor and a pleasure.
Cheers. Why California? Of course, that is the feature region for this year's International Wine Festival. Why is California so awesome?
Well, we have a lot of sun during the growing season. Never any rain, usually. And then we have the cold Pacific coast. And along the Pacific coast of California, you have this amoebic blob of fog. And that rolls in every afternoon to give you a nice, cool growing season.
So the fog is good.
The fog is great for growing grapes.
Excellent. Speaking of growing grapes and wonderful wines, you brought a couple for us that you're featuring at the tasting room for the next couple of days.
Yeah, you can come by and try these tonight, this afternoon, and this evening, every day. We have a little Chardonnay. And this one, we're actually trying Chardonnay at this time of day. We call it the Breakfast of Champions.
Love it. Why? Why is it such a great?
Well, in the aromatics, you have a cornucopia of fruit. Apples, green apples, pears, papayas, mangoes, pineapple. You can smell all that. A little bit of butter and toast from the oak barrel.
I love it.
And when you sip it, and then swallow it, it's going to have a really long, lingering finish.
Beautiful.
And it beckons for another sip.
And if we wanted to beckon for something other than Chardonnay, which some people might, you've also got a great red here.
Oh, a spectacular red. Now this is a Cabernet, also from Sonoma County. And we have a little saying there that if you have a vineyard that has a great view, you're going to have a spectacular wine. And if you think about that, it makes a little bit of sense because the higher up in elevation you go, the more impoverished the soil is, which means the vine has a harder time growing, smaller crop, smaller berries, more intense fruit, and more spectacular wine.
And speaking of spectacular, big wealth of knowledge here, Randy from Kendall Jackson. I wish I could talk to you for a lot longer. People can if they make their way here to the Vancouver International Wine Festival here at the Vancouver Convention Centre. More details on the screen, but the tasting room, Riaz, the next 3 nights, and you can chat with this guy up close and personal over that time as well. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Cheers.
Great fest to enjoy all weekend long. Thanks, Don.
Glasses will be raised here again at the Vancouver International Wine Festival. And Harry, I'm in a familiar space, a liquor store. What are the odds?
Hey, and guess what? I picked out a wine that I think you'd really like.
Excellent. Which one do you have there?
Sinzin.
Okay.
Is that a good wine for you?
Well, I like the sin part. And I was thinking Zen, but not quite the same as Zin, but anyways.
And we're here at the BC Liquor Store, which has over 700 wines. And can you imagine being in a liquor store and seeing all these wines and going, wouldn't it be nice to open them up and just taste the wine before you buy? You can do that because that's what we have here in the tasting room, is all these wines are available to taste throughout the evening. And
tonight, tomorrow, and also Saturday as well as the tasting room, correct?
That's right.
Perfect. Now tell us a little bit about these blue dots. What's the deal with that?
Well, the blue dot, and look how many they are, means that these are wines that are normally in the liquor store.
Okay,
so you're sampling wines that are very rare. Look at this. I mean, this is a classic. Height Cellars. I mean, this is one of those iconic California, Napa Valley, Cabernet Sauvignon. You just can't get this. And it's available not only to taste at the wine festival, but to purchase. And we should point out, too, that California is the region that's being featured at this year's wine festival. But you have all the regions, including a great selection of BC wines as well. But we are focusing somewhat on California here. And you also have another great option for people here. Yeah, sparkling wine from California. They do a great job. And this is from Gloria Ferrer. And this is called Blanc de Blanc, which means white of the white. And that means that this particular sparkling wine is 100% Chardonnay, which is our grape of the year.
Feature grape. Now, we should talk a little bit about the safety of getting home. There is a safe ride home. Tell us about that.
Get home safe, a transit ticket. So we're really close to Seabus, SkyTrain, Canada Line, and so it's a great way to get home safely.
And if you are going to be shopping a bit, there is a, well, instead of a coat check, why not a bottle check?
Well, you know what? I want to buy these 3 bottles. I'm going to put them in the bottle check. And then I can go off and taste some more wines. And you know what? They'll actually ship these wines to your local liquor store, so you can be hands-free when you leave.
Love being hands-free. No, actually, I like having one in each hand.
Okay,
but anyways, if you want to check out the Vancouver International Wine Festival, you can go to the website. Again, the tasting room happening the next 3 nights. Wine Festival goes on until Sunday, Riaz.